Who is responsible for Taiwan's defense?
Part 71.
Democratic reform as a path to sovereignty.
The Wild Lily Student Movement, aka March Student Movement, was a six-day student demonstration in Taiwan which lasted from March 16 to 22, 1990. White Formosa lilies became symbols of the movement, and members of the public created giant replicas of the flower as symbols of democracy.
The Wild Lily demonstrators sought to promote democracy through various reforms, such as direct elections of Taiwan's president and vice president, more democratization in elections for all National Assembly representatives, and a host of other important issues.
The movement coincided with the inauguration of Lee Teng-hui to a six-year term as ROC president, beginning in late March 1990,
and marked a crucial turning point in Taiwan's transition to pluralistic democracy.
In that era, the election which Lee won was decided by a vote of the so-called National Assembly, which was a non-democratically elected permanent constituent assembly of hundreds of members, most over 75 years of age. Under existing procedural rules of the National Assembly at that time, only one political party was recognized, and only one candidate ran.
However, as most longtime observers knew, in Taiwan, which the international press often referred to as Free China, this process had been characteristic of one-party KMT rule under Chiang Kai-shek since the mid-1940s.
The March Student Movement pressed for the establishment of a National Affairs Conference, advocated changes in the election process for legislative yuan members, urged direct election of the president, better legislative oversight of China policy, reforms in the civil service, the armed forces, the judicial system, etc., and was also credited with setting a timetable for reform.
Under the spirit of democratization, the National Assembly voted to dissolve itself in 2005.
In March of the following year, Lee Teng-hui became Taiwan's first popularly elected president,
winning an election in which over 95% of eligible voters participated.
Examination of the Wild Lily student movement is important for discussing Taiwan's democratization. Since the end of martial law in 1987 and up to the present, numerous pro-Taiwan activists have promoted the idea that Taiwan's transition from authoritarian rule to democracy would accelerate Taiwan's recognition as an independent sovereign state. However, this has not happened.
Perhaps these pro-Taiwan activists need to be reminded that the promotion and adoption of democratic governance policies is neither a requirement for recognition as a sovereign state in the world community, nor for membership in the United Nations.
In fact, some surveys suggest that the percentage of non-democratic states in the United Nations exceeds 35%.